Hi to everybody. Krista and I are in wild, wonderful West Virginia. Again, crappy day. Every time we do this, it's cold and rainy and nasty. So if your weather is wonderful wherever you are, we are so jealous. I still get jealous. All right, just had to break into a little Nick Jonas there. All right, so everybody, we are so sad that Cindy McDonald has had a death in the family, and makes me cry. But anyway, so she called me on Tuesday to tell me the news. And of course, Krista and I are like, we'll just do whatever we need to do. We'll work with your kids. We'll do the forum. We'll do whatever. So we told you all last week that was the last time it would be me, Krista. We lied. So here we are. So we didn't have anything planned today. So we're just going to do like a Q&A, like whatever it is that you all want to hear. Like, this is so not how I do things. Like, I'm so not used to just talking at people. I'm used to talking to people, like two-way communication. So, but we've got so many people on here. There's really like no way that we could do one-on-one. So let's start just for introductions. I'm Jamie Dickenson. This is Krista Green. We are with IC Advisors. I have been an educational consultant for 22 years here in Charleston, and someone yesterday asked me, how did I start being an educational consultant? I had a one-on-one this week. I've had a lot of one-on-one private business consulting appointments with educational consultants, and I was like, it was kind of crazy because I was in the CPA world, and I became a stockbroker, and I hated my job. And I'd sit in church and pray, Lord, I need a rich man that wants to marry me so I can just work out and lay in the sun. Well, that never happened. But in August of 1998, woke up in the middle of the night with this idea I was going to start this college planning business. And my dad, both my parents were teachers. And my dad was like, are you crazy? Even people get paid to do that in high school won't do it. Why would you ever want to do it? I was like, I don't know. It sounds like it's a whole lot more fun than what I'm doing. So I went off on a wing in prayer, and even my pastor told me he was going to feed me out of the food closet when I went broke, which I've almost done 3 or 4 times. But anyway, then it all kicked in, and I would just go to Books A Million and read books, try to teach myself how. Then when the internet came about in 2003 or 2004, I was Googling. I found this IECA. There's a whole association of people did what I did. I was so excited. Called my mom. I was like, oh, my God, there's this whole big bunch of other people. So I've been in business for 5 years then, see. And so I said, I'm going to go to this conference. So I fly to Scottsdale. The first person I meet was Catherine Mars. We ended up sharing a shuttle together. I get over there, and somebody, which now I know somebody on the meet and greet committee, walks up and goes, hi, I'm so-and-so. And I was like, hi, I'm Jamie from West Virginia. And she goes, well, what do you do? And I was like, what do I do? Like the same thing you do? I was like, I didn't have any idea why anybody would ask me what I do. Now I know. She wanted to know if I was doing college or therapy and therapeutic or private boarding school. Anyway, I thought that was really strange. Then when I filled out all of my papers to join the organization, you could either be an associate or professional. Well, when I read all the criteria, I met the professional. So I applied to go directly into professional. So I had to have an interview, and I'll never forget, it was Diane Geller, I think maybe Steve Antonoff, Bill Dingleding, Mark Scalero. And anyway, they take me in, they sit me down, it's like the Spanish Inquisition, and they're like, Bill Dingleding goes, how is it that we don't know you? Which I thought, why would you even know me? How would you even know me? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know you either. It was just like the craziest thing. But I guess at that time, there were hardly any educational consultants. And so they all pretty much knew each other, and they just couldn't figure out where this chick out of West Virginia came from that talked like Dolly Parton, like who knew? And anyway, for the longest time, I was the only MBA in the organization. So it just took off like a wing and a prayer like that. So if any of y'all have stumbled around at conferences, I'm right there with you. Because I called my mom when I was flying home. I was like, oh my God, Mom, these people are so weird. I'm never going to any one of these things again. They want to know what I did. I was like, what do you think? I flew all the way across the country. I do what you do. So anyway, that's how I got started doing what I do. And then, of course, me being a business girl, I just started giving my advice on business, which I'm good at. And so here we are, Krista, all this time later. And then Krista's mom was my massage therapist, and all I would do was bitch about my employees. And so I'd say, how's Krista like her job? She's so bored. She's so bored. And so one day I was like, oh my God, I'm going to hire Krista. And now she's never bored.
6 years later, I will never say I'm bored ever again in my life.
I know, and I know that all of you all in the office are scared because I've had so much time here by myself to dream up more stuff for us to do, right?
Trust me, I'm ready. I'm ready to get back to work.
All right, so let me tell you all, first of all, we got the mastermind coming. We got a new mastermind starting. It's starting next Friday at 2 o'clock. So Krista and I, if Cindy wants us to do it, we'll probably do the one at 1, and then we'll jump off and do that. So everybody's really confused about what a mastermind is, and that's really surprising to me because I've done many of them. And so a mastermind is just a group of like people that get together to discuss things. So I'm doing my masterminds are for the business of educational consulting, but it doesn't matter. You could do a mastermind of people who love to knit. You could do a mastermind for people who have lupus. I mean, you could do a mastermind for anything that you wanted to do. Ours is strictly business. So we do not talk college planning at all. We just talk the business. And then, yes, you have to apply because we just want people who are serious about business. So I think Krista sent out the email again today. We only have a few spots because like the boot camp, we limit it because if you get too many, it's just a nightmare. So if you're interested in the mastermind, it is not like this where I talk to you. I just facilitate it, and all of the members of the group come together as your own board of directors. So everybody participates, everybody talks to each other. Krista creates a Facebook group so that everybody can talk and give each other advice. And we all sign a non-disclosure form, so you can't talk about anybody else in the group, their businesses to anybody else. And so it's just really nice to share in a non-judgmental environment. And we've really had a lot of luck with, the boot camp and all that stuff. This is kind of how the format of how we do the boot camp. The difference is, and somebody emailed me that yesterday and said, what's the difference in your boot camp? Our boot camp is an intense boot camp. It is 20 hours in a weekend. And the mastermind is going to be 1 hour a month over 12 months. And then we do some like separate breakout stuff, which we could always open to everybody else. Like we were talking about doing one in part of the boot camp. I do like that is what most people love. We do the what about your personality makes you what type of entrepreneur? And that is, isn't that one of always the most popular sections of the boot camp?
Yep.
So so that's really fun. And everybody keeps asking me when the next boot camp is, and we don't know because we're going to wait and see how this virus falls out. We usually do one in September, and but in this day and age, maybe we try to do one online. I don't know. We just have such good synergy in there with everybody else. So I don't know. Anyway, that's how Krista came to me 5 years ago, and I ain't never letting you go.
Thank you very much for my job. I appreciate it.
Never letting you be bored either.
So with this one today, and I've put in the chat box for everybody, this is going to be a Q&A for all things business. We've got a few questions already, and Jamie will elaborate. So Jamie, I've got a few questions here. Okay. There is a question that you have brought up that we work with many, many clients. And so a lot of people are surprised and wondering how we work with so many clients and if we have a lot of competition in West Virginia.
I have no competition in West Virginia, none. I think I'm the only educational consultant in West Virginia. If there are, they may be away. But let me tell you all something. I would be better off if I had competition. So we do a lot of consulting, private one-on-one, and even at the boot camp with people who worry about their competition. Listen, competition is a good thing. That's why they built a Marriott right across the street from a Hilton. That's why they built an Exxon right across from a Shell. Competition is a good thing. If somebody would come, and I've had a couple people have tried to compete with me, and when somebody comes in to compete with me, I just increase my prices because I'm the old wise one and you're the young one. And so if you're going to pay for wisdom, you're going to pay for wisdom. How do we work with so many clients? First of all, everybody knows my strategy. Keep my prices low, my numbers high. I don't care what it is, whether it's my yoga studio, whether it's my college planning, whether it's my IC advisors. I mean, think about it. I'm only charging $25 for the mastermind. But if I get a lot of people, we get too many people, we just break it up into a new group, right? So I just keep my numbers low and my prices high. So we just counted, I had 225 seniors this year, but only about 85 of them were my college planning. So I have a lot of kids who do tutoring and test prep that I don't do. But then everybody's got to realize that I have a full-time staff. I have Debbie. Most people remember Debbie. Debbie's been with me for like 20 years. I have Debbie, and today's Debbie's birthday, by the way. She turned 71 today. So I have Debbie, full-time assistant. I have Krista, who's my personnel manager, so that she can like keep all my employees in line. And then I have, usually during the school year, we've got about 10 people that also work with the kids.
10 to 12 tutors, pretty much. That's normally our.
And then what I do is I train the other people to do the educational consulting. So if you all look at my pricing strategy, if you go to jamiedickenson.com and click on fees, you'll see in college planning, you'll see how I do it. And how they pay more for more hours with me. And then I include hours in the staff. So it's not just me. I mean, I'm pretty much the one that does the majority of the educational consulting. I mean, but I work 3 to 7 every day, Monday through Thursday, and that's all I work. And I hold 7 to 8 open every night for new clients. And part of the name of the boot camp is how to triple your income and double your time off. And that was always what I was trying to do, because as I kept getting more kids, I just kept working harder. And so one day I was like, okay, I got to work smarter, not harder. And that's when I had to start hiring people. And it's so scary to start hiring people, but if you're going to grow a business, you just about have to have staff. And then, in the whole Myers-Briggs thing, I'm such a huge F. Krista is a huge T. So whenever I have to fire somebody, I make Krista do it. Then I give her like a little pat on the back, a little bonus when I make her do something I don't want to do. Because, oh my gosh, there's no way I could fire anybody. I just cry. Unless I just get so freaking mad. One time I did get mad and fire somebody, and Krista was upset because she wanted to do it. So anyway, and then one day this girl delivered her food, and she was like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe who, what was what was it you got? DoorDash or whatever it was, and she delivered your food.
Grubhub.
Krista was like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe who delivered my Grubhub today. So Krista, they probably spit my food. So anyway, that's how I do it. And I was telling one of the girls yesterday that when I was in San Francisco at a conference, we were all sitting around eating, and I just hated when people asked me how many kids I had, because that was just my seniors, right? So and so this woman looked across the table and she said, oh my gosh, you can't be any good. I was like, seriously? I am good. That's why I have a bunch of clients. So anyway, if somebody says something to you don't like, just tell them what you think. So that's what I do. So anyway, but I'm from West Virginia, and something about when you tell people go to hell with the twang, they kind of like it, I think. I don't know. So anyway, Chris, I don't know if I answered it, but I had fun answering that question, I guess.
I think a lot of it is, we always say we do business with people. Everybody does business with people they know, they like, they trust. When anybody says college planning, they know who Jamie Dickenson is, regardless if they really know her. So as her friends call her, I'm her pit bull. So when they call and they say, well, I'll just call Jamie on her cell phone, I'm like, you don't have her number. So, there's certain ways to do it. And it's just because Jamie's been in business for 21 years and she's good. So it's kind of like a thing with our clients. If one family knows they're working with Jamie, the entire street has to work with Jamie. So it's also
that was part of my strategy. I really tried to make it cool to be, a Jamie kid, right? I even make up my own little jingles. Krista laughs when I make up my own little jingles, like, this is where the cool kids go, to somebody's song, So I really tried to make it that it was a cool thing that they did. And I used to give, anytime I got a new client, I gave them a t-shirt because they were like walking advertising. And then the local high school wouldn't let my kids wear my t-shirt to school anymore. Can you believe that? That made me really sad, but it is what it is. You just do business anyway. So, okay, what else, Krista? What else we got?
So I know we've talked about this a lot in the webinars, but just to clarify for everybody, are sole proprietors eligible for both the PPP and unemployment?
Yes. And whoop, whoop, I just got my PPP loan yesterday. Thank God. Okay. So yes, you are eligible for the PPP. You are eligible for the EIDL loan, and you are eligible for unemployment. Now, it was interesting because unemployment is administered through the states. So I think everybody's states are doing it differently. But in West Virginia, we are supposedly supposed to get our unemployment starting next week, and it's going to back up. So it can't come soon enough because old Mother Hubbard, my cupboard is bare. So, but a lot of people are worried about the fact that they're still working and making money. But I think in the CARES Act, they defined unemployment for a self-employed person as a major reduction of income. So if any of you all have never figured out how to figure out what your reduction in income is, so I just did mine yesterday. Go in QuickBooks and do a 90-day look back from today, and then compare it to the same time period last year. And all you got to do is click the income, profit, and loss with the percentage, and it'll show you exactly what you were down. And I think as long as you're under a 50% reduction in income, I think that still qualifies you. So good question. Oh, and you know what, Krista, did you see that email? And I can't remember her name, but somebody sent me the nicest note and thanked me that because she applied for the EIDL loan after it's a grant, actually, the EIDL, but it's called a loan, the EIDL after we got off, and she got it, and she made her dad do it, and her dad got it.
Good.
That just made me so happy.
There was somebody asking if anybody's heard back from EIDL. So they've got their PPP loan a few weeks ago, but they haven't heard anything. So is there any advice, or just kind of let it ride?
Just let it ride. Supposedly they're going in, first come, first serve, but I don't believe that's the case because I applied the first day, but who knows? I mean, I'm actually kind of happy, even though I was so stressed out and even cried on TV. TV people came over and interviewed me. I started crying. I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? But it actually worked out better because Monday was actually the first day at the tutoring center. We were given the okay to open. So it worked out that I got my PPP loan this week. And the yoga studio, I still haven't heard, but we can't open because for those of you all that don't know, I also own a yoga studio in Charleston. But we're not back open there. So it's kind of fine with me if you don't. But anyway, I think we're all just kind of in a wait and see. And, my philosophy has just been apply for everything and see what you can get and then deal with it later. That's about all I can tell you.
Now, a question is, if you accept the PPP and unemployment, will PPP convert to a grant?
Okay, the way that the PPP loans is, the minute you get your PPP loan, you need to contact unemployment and let them know that you are no longer, because you should have included money in there for yourself. So technically, that's actually, from what I understand, once you get your PPP loan, then you notify unemployment that you're no longer unemployed because you supposedly got this. There are so many things. I had a 45-minute conversation this morning with my CPA, and to be honest with you, he didn't know any more than I did because I don't have enough business at the tutoring center. We're in slow time anyway to pull all of my employees back. So I've really made the decision that I'm going to do the business aspect of it the best way for me and for the bottom line of my company. I took the money, I put it into account. I paid my rent. I paid a month and a half of rent because that was what was included in it. So I paid that yesterday. And then I'm just going to go along and see how we go. I just took that money and put it in an account by itself. I created a liability in my QuickBooks, a long-term liability in my QuickBooks, so that I could keep track of anything, and I took the rent out of it. The bookkeeping on this is going to be a big part. So I'm just going to kind of wait it out, but I'm thrilled that I got the money in my account now. I think I'll sleep good tonight.
You are happy. Now, this is a really good question kind of rolling into that. There's a lot of our IECs out here that are asking what records do they need to keep to make sure the loan will be forgiven?
Great question. Okay, like I said, if I were you, and if you don't know how to do this in your QuickBooks, you're going to create a long-term liability. Well, you could make it a short-term liability, but if it turns into a loan, it will be 2 years, and in accounting, anything over a year is long-term. So I put mine in a long-term loan. Then here's the issue. Part of the problem is, supposedly, unless they change it, you can't deduct the expenses that you're paying with. So when I wrote the check for my rent, I just put it in the same account that I had the loan against the loan so that I can keep track of it. But for rent, you'll have to have a receipt from your landlord. For payroll, it's your gross payroll. So you'll have to keep your payroll register, which anybody that runs your payroll runs your own. You know what your payroll summary looks like. And it's the gross, right? Not the net, it's the gross. And so you're going to have to keep payroll records. And listen, from what I was on a webinar yesterday, what's going to happen is if they come back and audit, they're going to audit your state unemployment records to compare to your PPP. Because for those of you all that don't know, every quarter when we file our unemployment, because I pay federal unemployment and state unemployment, which I'm sure you all do too, you have to give a list of all the employees, their social security numbers, and their wages that worked for you. So when you fill out your 941, it's just a group of wages, but the state unemployment form breaks it out by name. So from what I understand, if you get audited, they're going to look to your state unemployment quarterly form. So make sure whoever does your quarterly forms has all that stuff for your state unemployment. So I think that's how it's going to be, but you're going to have all written records. So I would say a payroll summary and state unemployment forms, filing for payroll, and then a receipt or, a copy of your bill, like if you do utilities. So that's a good thing. And I would keep them all in one file together.
Now, what if somebody doesn't, like a sole proprietor, what if they don't have an official payroll and they're trying to pay themselves?
Okay, here's how it works. You look back, if you've got your 2019 tax return, this is what they're looking at. Take your 2019 tax return, look at Schedule C, and look at the very bottom number on Schedule C. Take that number, divide it by 52, times it by 8, so that's 8 weeks, and that's how much you should be able to withdraw out of your PPP loan and pay to yourself. Simple formula. That's an easy question. So if you don't have your 2019 Schedule C done yet, you probably can just pull up in QuickBooks and run a profit and loss, or if your income doesn't fluctuate very much, look back at 2018 if you've got your tax return. But it's simple. Bottom line of Schedule C divided by 52 times 8. That's how much you can take out of it.
Okay. Now we've got a question. They don't know if they should accept their PPP because their income has not decreased that much. It's been granted, but they won't apply for the UI because their income has not decreased by 50%.
Okay, so if the federal government gave you the money and you obviously had to upload documents to prove that whatever you had, as long as they gave you the money, there was this whole thing, after Harvard. I mean, those of us in the college world, we saw Harvard got them, we were like, what? So there's a thing that says it has to, you have to sign off that it's for, like, that your business has to stay afloat to have it. But I mean, you can always pay the money back, but you don't have to pay it back now. If I were you and I was worried about that, I would put it in an account by itself and not spend it, and wait to see 8 weeks to see what's happening in 8 weeks. I mean, if you turn around and give the money back now, and then this whole thing breaks out again, then you're really screwed up. So I would not give the money back now. I would wait, and then if I felt like I didn't need it, then I would pay it back to the bank. Otherwise, it's going to turn into a loan that you got to pay back over 24 months. But it's at 1% interest. But now there's this whole big thing, which there's not a ruling on it yet, but they're talking about it, that, they didn't intend for people to just use it as a loan. And so in the loan document that I signed yesterday, I signed that 75% would be for payroll and 25% for rent and utilities and interest. So I would not give it back now. I would just keep it. And then at the end of 8 weeks, if you're fine, then you can give it back. But I mean, listen, they were really checking. I mean, think it's the federal government. They can go back into your tax returns and look and see, right? I mean, one of my clients this year is a partner in the law firm, and I have his daughter who's a senior, and he told me he got $950,000 in his PPP loans, and I don't think they're hurting. He took it. So if I was you, I'd take it.
Here's a good question. Somebody asked if they need to report their EIDL grant to unemployment.
No, from what I understand, it's a grant. Now, of course, I don't know how they're going to report this, whether they're going to report it as taxable income or what, but I don't think that's earned income. And I think unemployment is earned income. I think that's just a grant from the federal government. So, I mean, don't quote me on it, and I'm not giving tax advice, but in my accountant head, I would think, no, that is not earned income. Okay.
Now, Jane has a good question. She asked, Jamie said there's a 90-day look back. From what date to start date is that 90 days, what you're referring to?
Well, it's like a rolling date. Okay, so like yesterday, I got my PPP loan, I would look back 90 days from that. So, and then compare 90 days previous from this in 2020 to the exact same period in 2019. In the accounting world, we always compare everything to the previous period, previous year, previous dates, everything. So that's how they're looking at it. So just go into your QuickBooks, go to profit, just go to your regular reports. There's one called profit and loss by percent, and do it comparative to last year, and you can do custom and put your dates, and it'll tell you very simply. It's just an easy formula.
I'm going to switch a little bit to the business side as far as marketing your business. They have a IEC here that college consulting is not common, kind of like us in West Virginia. And they want to know if there's any tips to create a buy-in or anything that kind of looks like value, that it's an added value to get customers.
Okay, so this was something that I used to complain about to my dad all the time. My dad taught Dale Carnegie and was just, a lot of my things I learned from him. As a matter of fact, this whole Think and Grow Rich book, when I graduated from college, my dad gave me Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends, Influence People, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. He gave me Zig Ziglar's selling book, and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is where kind of like the whole concept of the mastermind came. So I used to complain to my dad all the time, oh my gosh, Dad, when you say you're a CPA, people know what you do. When you say you're a lawyer, people know what you do. When you say you're an educational consultant, they have no idea what you do. And that's when he said, well, go on the radio and tell people what you do. So I started doing a local talk show called Ask the Expert, which I did for 17 years. And I just had to tell people what I did. Now I think, especially the good thing that came out of, Varsity Blues is everybody knows what we do now. And so I think that you just have to start marketing yourself like that you're a professional, just like everybody else, and you help people go through that. Now, I had an appointment yesterday with a girl, and I told her we've gone strictly digital. Krista knows that. I don't advertise on radio, TV, newspapers. I've done billboards. Oh my God, I've done everything. I mean, I've put electrical stations. I've done t-shirts. I mean, you name every kind of marketing thing, we've done it. But we are strictly digital now, so we are doing more Facebook advertising than anything. And I think I like that because you can target your audience. But and Krista knows I've been working on systematizing my sales process. So, for example, somebody goes onto our account, and of course I use MindBody, and creates a profile. then the next process will be, hopefully they'll schedule a free session with Krista. Then they have a free session with Krista. She sells them an introductory consultation with me. Then they have an introductory consultation with me, and then I sell them into my graduation club. So that pretty much is my sales process. And we consider that an intro offer. So if I were you, I would do at a maximum a 30-minute free session. But Krista, why don't you tell them, because I think that people give away too much information. And I love how you do it, like when you get on the phone. So tell them all how you do your 30-minute free session.
The very first thing, I think the biggest thing is I could tell them we have tutoring, we have test prep, we have this, we have that. It kind of falls into the paradox of choice and overwhelms a already stressed out parent. That's why they're calling your office in the first place. Very first thing before I start, tell me about your student. I want to know what they're like as a student, as a kid. How's their attitude? Are they a go-getter? Are they slow? Are they done with testing? Are they a junior, sophomore, senior? Where are they? So in my head, I'm going through the whole time, okay, yes, test prep, yes, college planning. They definitely need to be in at least the platinum graduation club membership. And so then that I let them talk pretty much for 20 minutes. I just say, yes, okay, good. And then I have the last 10 minutes to say, your child can be fixed, because every parent is like, my child can't do this, I don't know. And yes, your child is smart, but they learn this way. And this is what I think that our office can help you in these services, and close them in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and Chris has got a great close rate. That's another thing that we talk about in the boot camp, is you have got to be able to figure out how well you're closing. So, and okay, y'all know I'm a numbers girl, and we keep all this. We call them key performance indicators, KPIs. So we know exactly how, and I wish we could, well, it's too late now because I don't know how to do it, share the screen. But if I did it, I could show you like through our software, because listen, I am a software freak. If I can use software, and I will always use software instead of the human factor. And so we keep track of how many people that we talk to about free session and what's their conversion rate. So anybody that's a free session, what's their conversion rate? Then we make them a customer. Then we do a conversion rate of, once they become have an intro consultation with me, how well do we convert them to a graduation club? Then we cross sell, right? Which I'm really good at cross selling. So then when they come in, so if I've got somebody that's only doing college planning, of course, they're definitely going to have test prep, right? And then usually they need tutoring. Then we have a lot of people that say, oh, my kid's just going to, Marshall University. I don't need all that college planning. So then if we have kids come in who are just doing test prep, then the whole staff knows we're trying to cross sell them back to college planning, and the same thing. So we try to cross sell between college planning, tutoring, and test prep. And of course, we got study skills, and we've got, I'm a certified ADHD life coach. So we do all that, but it's predominantly college planning, tutoring, and test prep. And in the whole pie of my revenue, 1/3 comes from college planning, 1/3 comes from tutoring, and 1/3 comes from test prep. So my pie is split into thirds. And that was really my goal, because I needed to learn how to make money off of other people. That was the only way I could sell my business, is if I'm making money off other people. Otherwise, I was a boutique. I didn't have anything to sell. And of course, I think the whole reason you do a business is to sell it. So that's how we do. But Krista is masterful. All she has to say, I've listened to her do it 100 times. First of all, tell me about your student, and then I will tell you where I think it's best to start, because we do offer a lot of services. And once that floodgate's open, they tell you everything, don't they, Krista?
They sure do.
So think about it. That's just like that is like I mentioned Zig Ziglar. That's such a Zig Ziglar sales thing. So it's very easy just to let them tell you, and then you know what they're more concerned about. You can tell if they're more concerned about college planning, tutoring, or test prep. So, and I tell everybody this, like in the boot camp, I always ask people, what's your product? What's your service? what are you selling? And everybody comes up with all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to break this down really easy for you. We, as educational consultants, this is just my opinion, we are selling hope to the parents and confidence to the kids. That's it. And I don't care what we do. We're selling hope to these parents that, yes, your child can go to college, be successful. And these kids have the knowledge. We just give them the confidence. Yes, you can take the test. Yes, you can pass. Yes, you can go to college. So when anybody says, you know, what business are you in? I'm always like, selling hope to parents and confidence to kids. I mean, that's just a easy breakdown, and people really appreciate that because people do not like to be sold. Can you tell that, Krista? People don't like it if they think you're trying to sell them, but people love it when they think you're trying to help them. So think about your sales process.
Everything you all do as IECs is very individualized. So I think me as your front salesperson and the first person they speak to for your business, it's very important for them to know that every client is individual and they will get that personalized attention from us. I think that's why professionalism is so high in our office.
Yeah, and we use another program called Listen 360. So if you go to jamiedickenson.com and you click on testimonials, those are all in real time. So when people come in for the first time or when they haven't been in for like a long time, it sends them a thing and, you know, it asks them, what did we do right? What can we do better? Those are the only two questions I ask, because you send me a survey, it takes me half hour to do it, I get all aggravated. So our survey asks two questions. What did we do right? What can we do better? And we learn so much from that feedback. But again, in the boot camp, we can kind of show you our big thing is professionalism. It is not fees. So everybody talks about money, money, money. It is not money, at least in mine. It's all about our professionalism, our courteousness of the staff, our unbelievable customer service. That's really what people are paying for. And even in their Google Analytics, right, Krista? Fees is like way down, like 5% of what people actually look for. And I mean, I know there's a lot of educational consultants that don't post their fees. And I just think that's crazy because I'm not going to do business with anybody. I don't know what the fee is before I call. And you know, I don't care. I just put mine out there to the universe because, first of all, I am not going to waste 1 ounce of oxygen from myself or my staff who I'm paying money to talk to somebody that can't afford it or that's not interested in it. I mean, I can't. I mean, I'm just like not a hard sell. And then I tell everybody, okay, look, if you don't want to do business with me, it's fine. I'm 60 years old, never been married. Look how well I deal with rejection. So if you don't want to work with me, you just don't work with me. And here's another thing that Debbie is really good at. So if people say, oh, I don't know, that's expensive or whatever, Debbie goes, well, if money's an issue, then like once you save your money up, then call us back. What pisses people off when you say if money is an issue? Well, money is not an issue. Okay, so then you kind of take that off the table. So we got a little tips and tricks, sales tips and tricks that we use in the office between Chris and Debbie. They're usually the two that are on the phones selling the service. But actually, like I got a call yesterday. I've been answering my own phone, if you can believe that. I got a call yesterday, and this girl goes, well, I would just really appreciate it if you would work with my daughter. I was like I was doing her a favor or something. I was like, oh, honey, yeah, I'll take care of it. I was like, yes, you can hire me. I was like, I just thought that was funny. Would you please work with my daughter? I was like, okay, I will.
Now, this is a good question that someone has brought up. Because of the coronavirus and everything is changing online, what tips would you give of a best way to attract a new client, strictly online presence?
Oh my God, that is the hardest thing. Because I mean, I know when I go to these conferences and you go in all these things about ethics, you're not supposed to like touch your people. I listen, you know, I hug them, kiss them. I mean, like, it is the hardest thing for me to like keep my hands off of everybody. I mean, like the whole office is like that. So, I mean, one of my moms the other day was like, oh my God, I wish I could hug you. I was like, you know, we'll do the whole thing here. I think that these young people are so much more used to this interaction on a computer like this than an old baby boomer like me. So, it's not any different than like what we're doing here, right? I mean, there's obviously something that makes almost 300 people want to get on here and listen to Cindy. or listen to me, Krista. I mean, there's obviously something about it that you like. And and like Krista just said it, there's 3 reasons people will do business with you. And it's not because you got an MBA or a CEP or they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And if you don't have all those things, you will not get any business. And we tell everybody that. So in your marketing, you've got to make sure people can get to know you, and that people, that you don't come across as, And like, I don't like, in my office, I have a peninsula, how do you say it? Peninsula. So we all sitting around, because I don't like that sitting back behind the desk like I'm better than you, my kids, because they get enough of that with the teacher at school. So I don't ever sit behind a desk and talk to anybody. We all sitting around a round table. And that's just always been my philosophy. And all of my tables in my tutoring center are round. Everything is round. So we sit in the round, kind of like how the University of Chicago teaches in the round. We do it in the round. I mean, that's just a hard, but you know what though? So cute. Ryan, the guy that I'm working with in North Carolina on the one-on-one consulting, when I first booked my appointment with him, he sent me the cutest little video. It's like, "Hi, Jamie, this is Ryan. I look so forward to meeting you." I thought that was the cutest thing. So I was like, I got to know what that little program is. I think there's a lot of software like that you could use. I mean, I even thought about that for us, Krista. If somebody created a profile, we could have you just automatically go out there and go, "Hi, I'm Krista. I'm your client concierge." That's what we call our front desk, is our client concierge. Sounds sexy. Sounds high class for West Virginia. So I don't know. That's kind of a good question. Marketing, I would just do it digitally. I'd cut a video and go on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, I don't know, TikTok. I can't even go into the TikTok thing. I ain't figured that. And Snapchat, I'll leave all that to Krista.
I'm too old for TikTok, so.
I mean, because we do a lot of that, Krista, don't we? We just I'll just be like, "Grab your phone," and I'm like, "Hey, So like one day when all the kids were filling out their mission application, I grabbed my phone, walked around the tutoring center. I was like, "Look at all my kids," and posted to Facebook. Phone started ringing. So I think everything now is going video, to be honest with you. Great question.
Here is a great question that I know you will love. There seem to be a lot of IECs hosting online webinars for varying aspects of the college application process and even on passion projects. Do you think these offerings dilute our standard comprehensive business?
I just told somebody else, I have this wonderful girl that I met with yesterday, Katie, in Miami Beach, and she said she was doing a blog, and I said, here's the way I think about it. I feel like we as educational consultants give away too much information, and that it almost makes people feel like they don't need us, right? So my point is whenever you are doing a webinar, you should be selling, right? And I mean, I'm doing it right now. Krista and I are doing it right now. If you don't think for 5 minutes we are not selling the mastermind and we are not selling the boot camp, you are crazy, because that's exactly what we're doing. Anytime I get in front of somebody, I'm selling. And that was a part of the problem that I had, I think, with these associations, that people thought I was selling myself. You're damn straight. I am selling myself. And every one of you all should be selling yourself. I don't care where you are. Every conversation you have, you should be selling yourself. And I think that when you're doing a webinar, don't think of a webinar as I'm giving you information. I think you give people just enough information that they want to pay for extra, right? So we can give away, like we can say, "Oh, we do this whole personality thing in the boot camp and people love it." Well, that should make you want to do it, right? That should make you want to come to our boot camps. And so I think that you give away too much information, and I think that everything that you do should be a sales presentation instead of giving people too much information. And like I said last week, anybody can Google a list of colleges, right? I mean, Google the top 10 business colleges. Okay, you can come up with it. But what people are paying us for is getting on a bus, traveling around, meeting with the presidents, sleeping in their dorms, eating their food, looking the kids in the face. You know, that's what people are paying us for. And you've got to remember what business you're in and what people are paying you for. So yes, Krista and I agreed to do this while everybody was down. But from now going out, we're going back into business mode, and people got to pay us for advice, right? I mean, and so it's the same. You should have the exact same mentality. Every time you talk to somebody, every time you're on TV. I mean, Krista knows this. I got interviewed at the tutoring center 2 weeks ago about my PPP loan for the tutoring center, right? Guess what I had on? A yoga power shirt, right? So it didn't matter that they were talking to me about my tutoring center. All in big letters right across my chest was yoga power. So I was silently advertising, even though I was on TV talking about the tutoring center. That's how you have to start thinking. And you know what? I've caught a lot of flack because I think like that. But think about it. My dad was Dale Carnegie. What does Dale Carnegie teach you how to do? Always sell, how to win friends and influence people, how to make people like you. And my dad always used to say, if you want to make money, you got to be funny. So I guess I just got a little bit funny in my old age. But so, you know, always be selling. Lord, don't give away your advice. Just don't give it away. Good question.
There's a great question as far as marketing, because we've gone off all of the traditional marketing. Somebody's asking about what do we do with our more focused Facebook marketing?
Okay, so if you all go to jamiedickenson.com, you'll see a picture of me and Kevin Harrington, one of those sharks on the Shark Tank. So kind of weird how I got hooked up with Kevin Harrington, and I ended up being in his mastermind and, you know, spent a lot of time with him, work with his son. And when I first went into the mastermind and they put me in the hot seat, I'm sitting up there and he goes, okay, Jamie, tell me what your email conversion rate is. And I was like, Mr. Harrington, if I knew what that meant, I'd be more than happy to tell you what that is. So he, Mr. As Seen on TV, Google him. Mr. As Seen on TV was the first one like 5 years ago that said, okay, look, everything's going digital. You got to go digital. So I came home, hired a digital company, and it just didn't work because they would come back with, and Krista knows this, they would come back with my stuff like I was in the funeral home business or something. I'm like, it is so hard to hire outside marketing people. Charlotte Clark says this all the time too. They don't get our business. It's hard for outside marketing people to help us. So we started capturing our emails and our conversions, right? And we keep track of, you know, if you come into our email, I mean, and those of you all, if you all are now on this, you are starting to get Krista's marketing. I mean, just flat out. We don't ever miss a chance to market to anybody. But remember, you are always selling yourself. If you don't sell yourself, nobody else is going to sell you and you will go broke. Trust me. So I think that you've got to capture people's emails. We now have gone to two-way text at all of my businesses because people are not reading emails anymore. So we're going to two-way text. But I mean, everything we're marketing is digital. I mean, I just don't think you got any choice.
There's a lot of things. We've also stopped paying for Facebook ads. There's algorithms that even if you're paying for things, that they don't get out. So what we've done is we'll post them and we'll just take a lot of our clients and share. And those organic hits are a lot better than the paid ones. So we've definitely cut back on that as well.
Oh, and you know what reminded me of that? Remember we were talking to that guy who had a business that he would increase your Google status on it, like if somebody Googled you. So Krista and I listened to this guy give us this presentation about how his company can increase their Google stuff. So, you know, we go dinner that night and I was like, oh my gosh, we ought to be able to figure out how to do that. So now what we do is anytime we get a new client, like 2 months later, we send them an email with the link and ask them to give us a Google review. And it works. I mean, people just do it. And I'm like, That guy wouldn't make me pay him $700 a month. Look at that. We used to do that all by ourselves. So I just set out an auto email that says, hey, why don't you just give us a review if you like us? And it works beautifully at the yoga studio. And in the yoga studio, we've even got a sign up that says, please leave us a review. Google, TripAdvisor, especially down there. So we just my philosophy is you just have to tell people how to do business with you. And I think that's pretty much what we do. We just tell them, hey, leave us the Google thing. And, if you ask 200 people, 20 will do it. And that increases your Google analytics. So good question.
Now there's a good question. And this came up a few times today, that a lot of people have heard that our monthly membership for our Silver Graduation Club members are $49 a month. But why are our prices so low, in their opinions, and for private one-on-one consulting?
Okay. Again, I keep my numbers low, my price is high. I keep my prices low, my numbers high. Okay. So think about this. I've got $49 is my bottom. And then $199 a month is my top, right? So, and then I've got 99, 149 in there. So I have 4 types. So if somebody calls in and says, oh, your prices are too expensive, well, then you can sell them the $49 a month. Most people don't like to buy the cheapest option. They like to buy the middle. So we're driving people to the middle because really what we want is the $99 or the $149 a month, right? So, but if you do the math at if we get, I think I did the numbers the other day, we've got about 200 silver members right now. So 200, I can't do the math, Krista. What's 200 times $50 times 12?
600.
No, 6,000.
No.
What is it? $50 times 200.
120,000.
Okay. So, okay, people. Yeah, I got $49, but I'm making $120,000 a year revenue off that. That's all I care about. I care about the gross. I don't care how I get it. If I want to make $100,000 and some people can charge $10,000 and get 10 kids, no. In West Virginia, I have to charge people $1,000 and get 100 kids. So that's why I keep my prices low, my numbers high. I'm not going to brag, but I'm going to tell you all, I gross above $600,000 a year at the tutoring center in Charleston, West Virginia. That's why I have such a hard time when everybody's like, I'm in Dallas, and you tell me you can't make any money. You are doing something wrong. Work smarter, work harder, triple your income, double your time off. Now, granted, I'm a workaholic and my personal life has suffered, but since I've adopted that work smarter, work harder, I have greatly increased my revenue while decreasing my expenses, while increasing my time off. And Krista is a big reason as to why I have more time now, because I took a lot of the stuff that I do and passed to her. Now what Krista's doing, Krista's taking the stuff that she does and passing it to our assistant managers, like Nicole. So we are very much going down the ladder. It's the same way with my yoga studio. Everybody else in town, used to be charging $110 a month for yoga here. I just couldn't believe it. I was paying $89 a month. I come in, open up my yoga studio. I start $49 a month. You get 300 clients real fast, and you're making money. Okay, here's another thing, Krista. I was telling Cindy, hey, don't be putting a mojo on me if they cancel that ACT prep. Okay, get your calculator because I want you to do this math. Okay, we just threw up this class. We have 28 kids in an online ACT prep. So what's 28 times, $499, let's just say 500. 28 times 500, how much cash is that?
14,000.
Okay, $14,000. April's doing it. It's 20 hours. I'm paying her $12 an hour. So what's 20 times 12?
240.
So I paid $240 to make $14,000. That's how you make money, people. So how can you take 1 hour and make money off of it, right? So, I mean, that's what we do. I have unlimited tutoring. We charge $199 a month, 7 o'clock every night, 7 to 8. Drop your kids off. We'll help them with the homework. You know, I mean, we get 10 or 12 kids, they're dropping off. I mean, that's just easy money, people. Like Chris always knows, I always go, easy money, easy money. That was easy money. Like, it's like, that's easy money. So that's the whole premise of the boot camp. How can you make more money, less time? And a lot of times it's just like, you just get so tunnel vision that you have to do everything privately, one-on-one. And then I'd come home and I'd tell Krista, whenever anybody would tell me that they schedule gaps in between their appointments so that this family doesn't know that family's coming in. I mean, I can see something like therapeutic or whatever, but in college planning, hey, I want all my people to see each other. No, and I make them sit out in the lobby all together. And they all like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? So I don't waste time like that either. My appointments go back to back to back to back. And if everybody sees each other in the lobby, that's just more advertising. So yeah, always, that's why when Cindy kept saying, cancel that, I was like, oh, holy, no, don't cancel that class. So now we're doing it, same thing for the July test. So there you go.
Now, here's a good question about colleges, because I know you've been talking to all of our seniors recently about where they're going. But we had an IEC wanting to know if you've seen a lot of clients being pulled from any highly selective colleges of their wait list yet. No, I have not. I'm trying to think of, April, we've been working on it all this week to make sure we had everybody that, you know, if we had a few stragglers that we hadn't heard from. So she was reaching out to people. But I mean, this year I got a student going to Pepperdine, one of my kids going to UC Berkeley, one of my kids, like, getting Jaeger scholarships. I mean, one of our girls going to the University of Chicago. So no. And to be honest with you, the majority of what I tell my kids is like, okay, look, if you're on the wait list, tell them, yes, you want to stay on the wait list, but then just consider that a denial, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to hear from them. And then make your choice and go forward. But Krista, you know how much I say this, where you end up has a whole lot to do with how you're treated during this whole entire process. And if you don't think that treated you right, then pick a college that treated you right and go there. I mean, these kids are the prize, you know, and I'm not going to talk college admissions either, because but so many kids come into this like, oh, please let me in. And then my philosophy is, listen, you are a great student and every college in this country should want you, and you pick whoever treats you the best. Don't go by the name of the school. They're all great. Go by what's going to be the best fit for you socially, emotionally, academically, and financially for mom and dad. So that's what I tell my kids. You know, if you got pulled off if you're on the wait list, just tell them, yes, you want to stay on it, or no, you don't. And then just consider a denial and go on. If you get pulled off, then we got to talk. We got a decision to make. But no, I haven't had anybody get pulled off the wait list yet that I know of. Okay, great. Now I think a last question, we'll switch back to a little bit of the PPP loans. She's the only person in the business and she got her PPP. So she said, should she start paying herself, and does it all need to be paid out by June 30?
No, it's an 8-week period from the time you got the money. So what you should do is take your 2019 Schedule C, go to the bottom, take that number, divide it by 52 times 8, and that's how much money you should pay yourself. Now, if you think about it, and I've talked about this before, that additional 25%, if you're not paying rent or utilities or something, you may have a little bit left over that you either got to turn into. But no, I'm so happy to hear that people are getting their PPP loan. But listen, don't be afraid to use the money, as long as you're using it properly. And I mean, for self-employed people, that's it. You take your net income up, divide it by, 52 times 8. So it's only 8 weeks, but when you applied for 11 weeks. So you're going to have a little extra there that you use for rent or something. Is it 3 o'clock? Oh my gosh. How can I go by that fast?
It is.
All right, so we don't know whether we will be here next week or Cindy, and everybody please say prayers for Cindy. She's just had such a shock this week. But in the midst of all this, what was she worried about? She was worried about her Friday forum. God love her. So Krista and I will continue to do it until she says she's fine. Those of you all that want to get in on our mastermind, it's $25 a month. It's 12 months. And then a lot of you I see out there are in the alumni boot camp that have been to the boot camp before. We're going to start a alumni group on the first Friday of the month. So we've got that going too. Then hopefully you're on our email list. Look for emails from us, because we're going to start doing, workshops. We'll be talking about the boot camp and whether we're going to take anything online or whatever. But listen, we so appreciate you all listening to us, don't we, Krista?
Yeah.
I mean, like, if anybody's ever been to a conference with us, which I think they got mad at us, which is why they asked about it, we'd squawk our chicken. We got this big old yellow squawking chicken, which is so tacky, but they would always put me in the worst room. They'd always put me all the way down in the hall, and nobody would get to see me. And so we'd stand out there and squawk that chicken, and everybody knew where we were. So we even used the chicken in the boot camp. So we just really appreciate you all listening to us. The difference in the mastermind, it's not going to be like me telling you what I do. It's you telling me what you do, and then me just giving you my advice, just like this, just more one-on-one, right? If you've never done a mastermind, you should do it. But if you get into a mastermind, and you don't have to do mine, you can do anybody's mastermind. Like I said, I did Kevin Harrington's mastermind. I did Ford Riley's mastermind. I did James Malinchak's mastermind. I did College Blueprints mastermind. I mean, I've done a lot of masterminds, and then I've facilitated a lot of them too. So this is ours. We only do educational consultants. But it's really a fun thing to do, and you really get to know each other, and everybody helps each other, and nobody's snippy and snotty, and at least they do. Chris will get you if you don't stay in line. My pit bull over there will get you. So anyway, we hope everybody stays home, stay strong, and stay in business, and always sell yourself, and always charge what you are worth. And if we are here, we'll see you same time. Y'all come in, sit a spell, take your shoes off, and have a little coffee, and we'll be back. If not, it'll be Cindy. And if you want to get in on the mastermind or the boot camp, just go to iecadvisors.com. And when you send stuff in, you'll get Krista. And then we'll just go from there. But we are so appreciative of you all hanging out and showing Cindy your support. And we really do appreciate you. So remember, people will do business with you if they know you, they like you, and they trust you. So obviously you all feel that way about Cindy and us, and God, we are so appreciative. So everybody have a great weekend. Start thinking about how you can make some more money and triple your money and double your time off. That's what it's all about. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.